Welcome to Gist Dish TV, your ultimate gist corner. Before we dive into this emotional and wahala-filled continuation of Maurice Sam's hospitalization journey, abeg hit that subscribe button so you no go miss the kind gist wey dey shake Nollywood from underground. Today's story is part 2, and this one is sweet, e pain, e choke, and e soft all at once. The kind gist wey dey touch heart and raise eyebrow at the same time. What happened between Maurice Sam and Sonia Uche inside that hospital room? My people, get ready. Maurice Sam didn't just collapse on set because of stress. People wey close to am talk say the pressure don dey pile long before that day. Deadlines, shoots, expectations, online pressure, family matters, personal demands, everything been dey weigh him down. But the part wey many people no talk be the emotional stress wey dey tie him to one person, Sonia Uche. Even though their chemistry dey loud, even though their bond dey obvious, even though the connection dey strong enough to light bulb, the two of them still dey pretend like nothing dey there. They were moving like coded lovers, carrying unspoken feelings, quiet longing, and hidden tension that only their hearts understood. But the pressure finally caught up. So when Maurice landed in the hospital, weak, drained, and emotionally vulnerable, the person he secretly wanted to see the most was Sonia, even though he no fit talk am out loud. And Sonia, she knew. Sometimes two people dey carry each other emotionally without saying a single word. The day she visited him changed everything. When Sonia arrived at the hospital, she wore something simple, jeans, a soft brown top, hair tied behind her head, but inside her swear say she looked like peace walking inside chaos. She didn't come with camera, she didn't announce her presence, she didn't post anything on Instagram. She just walked into that hospital with intention, with care, with worry, with something deeper than friendship. The moment she stepped into the ward, the atmosphere changed. Even the nurses noticed it. One nurse talk say she never see Maurice's eyes soften like that in weeks. The man that was looking emotionally exhausted suddenly brightened, like someone switched on light inside his chest. He whispered her name. Soft. Gentle. Almost scared to believe she was actually there. And Sonia. She froze for 1 second, just one, because she wasn't sure how he would look. Seeing him hooked to medical lines, looking fragile, looking tired, it pained her. She blinked fast like person trying to kill tears before they fall. She dropped the bag she carried, a small food flask, some fruit, and one handwritten card, and moved toward him slowly. She didn't rush. She didn't pretend. She just looked at him like someone looking at something precious. Before we go deeper into the heart-melting moments that followed, I beg if you never subscribed, hit that subscribe button because this story still get like 20 tons inside them, and you need to hear every single one. When Sonia finally reached Maurice's bedside, she touched his hand. Not the way friends touch hands. It was soft. Warm. Intimate. Like someone who had been thinking about that touch for weeks. And Maurice felt it immediately. Insiders talk say he closed his eyes for a moment because that single touch calmed his spirit more than any medicine. You scared me, she said quietly. Not loud. Not dramatic. Just the raw truth. Maurice looked at her with an expression that broke her heart a little. He whispered, I'm sorry. But Sonia shook her head softly. No be sorry I want. Just don't do this again. That moment held weight. Emotional weight. Weight of worry. Weight of connection. Weight of two people pretending they don't care as much as they actually do. Sonia sat down beside him and adjusted his pillow gently. She was moving like someone who had done it before. Like someone who knew exactly how to make him comfortable. Maurice kept watching her with small smile, tired but real. You're not eating well, she scolded him softly, opening the food flask she brought. Maurice tried to laugh, I ate small. You never even touch anything, she cut in, pointing at the untouched hospital food. Maurice, this is not how to take care of yourself. He sighed. I just lost appetite. So I should feed you, she teased lightly, but the undertone wasn't small. The undertone carried energy. The undertone carried tension. Maurice looked at her, really looked at her, and said, you fit do anything you want. The silence that followed sweet die. Nobody moved. nobody spoke. Just heavy eye contact that said everything words couldn't. She ended the tension with a small laugh, shaking her head, each jaw, and scooped a spoon of food for him. And to the shock of the nurse watching from a distance, Maurice actually opened his mouth slightly and ate, like someone receiving care from the exact person they wanted care from. But the emotional center of this visit came when Sonia placed the handwritten card on his bedside table. Maurice noticed it and stretched hand to pick it, but Sonia gently touched his wrist. "Read it later," she whispered. Insider's talk say the look she gave him at that moment was not friendly. It was deeper. Softer. Warmer. Something like, "You matter to me," but said with ice. They continued talking, quiet conversation about his health, his fear, his overwhelming workload. Maurice opened up more than usual. He told her how he had been feeling empty, tired, pressured. How he felt like he was losing himself. How he didn't know how to slow down. And Sonia listened like someone who had been waiting to hear him speak truthfully. She didn't interrupt. She didn't rush. She held his hand. Rubbed it lightly with her tongue. And when Maurice looked away to hide his emotion, Sonia pulled his hand back gently, forcing him to face her. "Maurice," she said softly, "you don't always have to be strong. Not with me." That line alone fit melt stone. Maurice blinked, swallowed hard, and whispered, "I didn't want to burden you." "You're not a burden," she replied immediately. "Don't ever think that." At this point, the nurses discreetly stepped out and closed the curtain because the emotional tension in that room no be small. And according to someone who passed by quietly, they heard Sonia's voice drop lower, as if she was stepping into territory they both usually avoid. "You should have told me how you were feeling," she said, her voice shaking slightly. "You didn't even let me know you were struggling this much." Maurice squeezed her hand lightly. "If I told you, I would start depending on you too much. And that is a bad thing?" Sonia asked. He looked straight into her eyes and said something that froze her on the spot. "It's dangerous. Because I already depend on you more than I should." Sonia didn't breathe for 2 seconds. Her lips parted slightly. Her pulse jumped. She felt it. She couldn't hide it. She couldn't pretend. But she composed herself and asked softly, "Why do you think you shouldn't?" Maurice gave a sad, small smile. "Because I don't want to pull you into my chaos." Sonia leaned closer, lowered her voice, and said something nobody expected. "Maurice. I'm already in it." The silence that followed was electric. They didn't move. They didn't speak. They just stared into each other like two people holding secrets too heavy for the world. Before we continue, I beg hit that subscribe button because the next part of this story will tighten your chest. The emotional confession that followed. My people, not real cinema. After that chest-tightening moment, Maurice gently reached for Sonia's face and tucked a loose strand of hair behind her ear. A small gesture, but loaded. Loaded with all the unsaid things they've been bearing. Sonia felt her breath hitch, but she didn't stop him. She didn't pull back. She just looked at him, eyes soft, heart open. "You don't have to pretend," Maurice whispered. "And you don't have to hide," she replied. He smiled weakly. "I missed you." "You scared me," she repeated softly. He whispered again, "I'm sorry." Then Sonia did something unexpected. She lifted his hand to her cheek and held it there. Slow. Deliberate. Intimate. She didn't rush. She didn't tremble. She just held his hand against her skin like someone trying to tell a story without speaking. Maurice's eyes watered. Just a little. Enough to betray how much he had been carrying. "I'm here," Sonia whispered. "I'm right here." He nodded, swallowing emotion so thick it almost choked him. They talked for hours. About their feelings, coded but clear. About their fears. About their bond. About how hard it is to care for someone in an industry where public opinion can destroy anything soft. They didn't call themselves lovers. But they didn't act like friends either. Their closeness that day was something else. Something deeper. Something dangerous. Something beautiful. Sonia stayed until the evening, helping him drink water, adjusting his blanket, teasing him softly, even massaging his hand when it cramped. And every time her fingers touched him, the room changed temperature. Before she finally stood up to leave, she leaned toward him and whispered something into his ear, too low for anyone else to hear. But insiders swear what she said made Maurice smile for the first time that day. She kissed his forehead lightly, not romantic, but not innocent either. Something in between. Something that revealed everything she never said with her mouth. "I'll come tomorrow," she whispered. Maurice held her hand one last time before she left and whispered back, "Please do." Sonia walked out of that hospital room like someone leaving part of herself behind. And Maurice watched the door long after she disappeared. Before we wrap this emotional part 2, I beg hit that subscribe button because part 3 go reveal what Maurice read inside Sonia's handwritten card, and how that message almost made him cry.